Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Justice. We are trying to prove something at this point in time, and I hope to God we're gonna finish this case because there's not a whole lot left, and if we don't, we might go over, so get ready for the ride. You better know, Apollo, otherwise we're through. It can be proven. You make it sound like someone else is going to come along and do it for you. Well, technically someone kinda did. Let's continue with the cross-examination then, shall we? Witness your testimony, if you would. This isn't going to be easy. I need some decisive proof, and fast. You ready, kid? 'Cause I am. Of course you are. The shooting took place during the second set. If you're so sure, let's see your proof. You want to see it? Let's do it! Let's present the mixing board. It seems there was clear proof left behind. Right here, Lamar's song. Song? What exactly is this, device thingy? A new variation of a gramophone, perhaps? Come on, we just used this, and don't get me started on gramophone. This device was used to record the performance part by part. Part? You move the sliders to adjust the volume. Each instrument is adjustable separately, Lamar's voice included. Oh, but what does this prove? According to Lamar's testimony, at the moment of the shooting she forgot the words to the song. Ah, you intend to examine the recording at that moment, yeah? We might even hear those gunshots. Exactly. Ha! Ridiculous! How are you supposed to hear gunshots back in that dressing room out on stage? Have you forgotten, Darian? We were all wearing these headsets. Oh. We were all deeply involved in our performance, but Lamar's headset would have picked up what she heard all the same. Then let's get to analyzing that recording. Right now! Lamar stopped singing when she heard the shots fired. Find that spot and I'll find the gunshots. Okay, what are we doing here? Oh, well, okay, there we go. Well, I figured that out. How do I do this? Okay, right? I guess this is how I'm supposed to present it. I hope. I hope so anyway. Your Honor, listen closely to this part. This is the track with Lamar's vocals. I did hear something faintly there, yes. Why, it sounded like a gunshot. What? This has to be some kind of mistake. I believe a case has been made. Gunshots were heard during the second set, which means Lamar's testimony was true. Ugh. Oh, now you're in shit. Order! So, she was telling the truth about what she heard.
It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latus.
Well, what did he say?
It's over. Press the switch, now.
Just after that, there was a gunshot, and then the guitar caught on fire. Detective Crescend, you weren't on stage during the second set. You could have done it. But why did we only hear one gunshot in the recording? Weren't there 2 bullets fired from this weapon? Lamar was moving through the air vent, Your Honor. She must have not been close enough for her mic to catch the first shot. But then, as she passed over the dressing room, a gun fired again, and Mr. Latouse's life was taken. Well, Detective Crescend? Once again, I'm reminded of something. A performance that day. Your performance? Seeing the mixing board jogged my memory. You were there too, Herr Forehead. What is it with today? Problem after problem, actung. My hug won't start, my guitar case is busted. My guitar's been burnt to a crisp, and to top it all off, someone's dead. And there was that performance just now. What was that all about? This part is off. Which is that? A second guitar. It was you, Darian. I thought it strange at the time. How could you miss such a simple cue? I know you. I know how you play. You're better than that. Yeah, well, You what? And Prosecutor Gavin, what are you getting at? I'm talking about the murder weapon, Mr. Latouse's .45 caliber hand cannon. As we've learned, even the shooter doesn't go unscarred with a revolver that size. The kickback is enough to dislocate your shoulder if you're an amateur. Wait, you mean he's playing was affected because he hurt himself shooting that revolver? Ha! You're forgetting something. Yes, Detective Crescend? I am a trained police officer, you know? I've had firearms training, plenty of it. I'm no amateur. The standard sidearm issued to police officers is a .38 caliber weapon. A much tamer beast. Also a murder weapon belonged to the victim, Mr. Latouse. Which suggests there was a struggle between killer and victim. So the killer might not have been holding the revolver correctly when he fired. Is that what you mean? The thought had occurred to me, yes. Dara is not looking cool. Well, does the witness have anything to say to this? Detective Crescend! What I want to ask is what Mr. Sleeves rolled up ready for action has to say. Hey you, attorney. Me? Exactly which piece of your evidence is decisive again? You got a little noise on a tape that could be anything. And you have an alleged guitar cue missed due to a .45 caliber kickback. I weep for this case, Gavin. I really do. You can line up your little weak pieces of evidence all you want. I didn't shoot that manager. And that's the obvious truth. The witness has a point. The defense's argument, while persuasive, are not decisive. I believe we should hear what the witness has to say in response to the case so far. Your testimony, please, Detective Crescend. Tell us your reasons why you couldn't have done it. Ugh. Come on, why would I even want to kill that manager? You want a reason? Easy. I got no motive, man. It was that diva's first trip to this country, right? How could I possibly know her manager? If I didn't know him, why would I want to kill him? A simple reason indeed. Prosecutor Gavin, is it the case that Mr. Latouse had not been to our country before? According to our records, yes, not even once. I see. Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. Great, now I need to find a motive. We got this, no big deal. First we're gonna press everything though. Her manager? Sure, but Mr. Latouse was... Oh right, sorry, an Interpol agent, wasn't he? I just have trouble picturing that big lunk as an undercover cop, you dig? And not a very good one, seeing as how he got wasted. That's not something we laugh about. That's cold, dog. Not that it matters either way. See, I had no reason to kill the man, whatever he wants. But that's the same for Machi. No motive was proven for him. Come on, he traveled around the world with that old fart. He had plenty of time to come up with a motive of his own. Ugh. More than I sure did. I mean, think about it. Darian, you're a detective with international affairs. Yeah, what of it? Even if this was Mr. Lotus's first trip to this country, you still could have met him prior to the concert. Huh? Or don't you take any international trips in international affairs? That's right. Well, Detective Crescent? That's your game, is it? Guess I better confess then. Confess? Yeah, it's a bit of an embarrassment. But I've never been sent overseas. What? But you're an international... See, me and Plains got a difference of opinion. We don't like each other much. My condolences, Half-Full-Head, but he's telling the truth. He's never set foot outside the country. I can guarantee it. As it turns out, my division has plenty of work to do locally as well. That's just unfair. So you didn't fraternize with him at all during the concert? Fraternize? Huh, I don't think we exchanged a single word. As if anyone would want to talk to that old Eastern blockhead. Now the ladies, that's a different matter altogether. So you see... You sure about that? What? What? Wipe that look off your face before I do it for you. Listen, you try throwing out one of your wild accusations, I'll throw it back at you so hard you'll forget who you're accusing of what. Half-Full-Head, perhaps it's best if you let your evidence do the talking, ja? Man, what evidence? That's what I want to know. So he's using this motive question as ammunition, huh? Well, I've got ammunition too. Evidence. Okay, where are we presenting? Got no motive. So now we're gonna take a gamble and see if he did actually have a motive by presenting this replica. Your Honor, take a look at this. What's that? Oh, looks like candy. It's not. Don't lick it, please. Detective Crescent, ever seen this? Looks like a piece of candy. What it is evidence. Don't lick it before you try it. Specifically, this is a replica of a cocoon. It was found among the victim's belongings. A cocoon? Never seen one that color. It is a variety only found in the Republic of Virginia. Nowhere else. Alright, but what is this cocoon replica doing in my courtroom? Surely this has nothing to do with the motive for killing Mr. Lotus, does it? It does. Wait, I think it does. You don't sound so confident, man. A cocoon? Is it one of those silky cocoons? The kind that you can make, well, silk out of? Not this one. This cocoon makes a powerful curative. A curative for what? Apparently, it is most efficacious at treating a disease thought incurable. It is the only medicine of this kind. However, it is illegal to take one of these healing cocoons out of Virginia. Whatever for? If it's such a miracle cure, why not share it with the world? Yeah, that's what I've been wondering. We've looked into the matter at some length. Apparently, it isn't difficult at all to manufacture the remedy from the cocoon. Yet if you change the process only slightly, you can easily make a large quantity of something else entirely. A deadly poison, in fact. What? Of course. There was an incident several years ago where some of these got onto the black market. It caused quite the commotion in the global community, although the media was kept largely unaware. Intriguing. All this has led to a strict ban on the cocoon's export, one rigidly enforced by Interpol among others. Interpol? Right. The victim, Romain Lotus, was an Interpol agent. Detective Crescent, you insist on referring to him as a manager, but that is misleading. Romain Lotus wasn't killed as a manager. He was killed as an undercover agent. So I was trying to smuggle this gumball into the country? That what you're trying to say? I'm saying that could well be a motive for murder. Oh, so I was gonna sell it on the black market. Make myself a pretty penny? Ridiculous. I mean, totally unthinkable. Unthinkable, you say? Why?
Perhaps it's time for another testimony about this smuggling of cocoons business.
Testimony after testimony, good lord. International Affairs got a memo about these cocoons. Interpol's all hot and bothered by them. Can't sell them on the black market. Too dangerous. Yeah, cocoon smuggling ain't exactly lucrative anymore. Man, I'm in International Affairs. I know the deal.
Indeed. Interpol wanted those cocoons bad enough to send Mr. Latouche undercover.
You kids think of the craziest things. But no way am I going to risk life and limb just to get my hands on some dirty cocoon money.
Not the most noble statements, but duly noted.
According to the reports, these cocoons top Interpol's list. Selling them to an underground organization would be risky.
Very well, you may begin the cross-examination.
This is the only motive I've got. He's up to something, and I'm going to find out what. Let's do it! Get to it!
Ugh.
God, Darian's just putting up a fight before we get there. That memo, that's how you knew about the cocoons. Oh, nice one, nice one. I'm running scared now. You had to know about the cocoons to plan this.
Just how well known are these cocoons? I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I've never heard of them.
Well, Lamar knew about them, though not their use. My reports indicate that there are ongoing efforts to control information about the cocoons. Most people only know they're illegal to export, that's all.
Then I've nothing to be embarrassed about after all.
Say people like me who know about them are a minority, yeah. But that includes everyone in international affairs, man. And everyone in Interpol, too, for that matter. Yeah. So there are other Interpol agents like Mr. Latouche? All over the world, likely. Deep undercover, most of them. That's why these cocoons are too hot for the black market. You don't want Interpol sniffing through your wares. Most came to the conclusion that dangerous? Yeah, Interpol finds you, they arrest you on the spot. Or another marketeer might think you're a part of a sting and take you out himself. Times have changed. But wouldn't scarcity drive up prices? Yeah, and attention. Every gangster and his brother would want a piece of that action. They turn your forehead into Swiss cheese before you can say objection. Maybe we could get them to cut his hair, too. Who's on trial here again? Man, you're so obviously nothing about the market. And that's a bad thing? Don't even try to mess with me about this stuff. Which is why you know how to find a loophole in the system. Hey, you can say what you want about me, but back off of international affairs. There ain't no loopholes, okay? What do you think we are, Boy Scouts? That wasn't what I was trying to, down, Darian. It's as you say. There are no loopholes, at least in the case of these cocoons. International Affairs, Interpol, and Borginian Customs are all watching. See, we know what we're doing. Not like some yipping little doggies that lap up every word that Diva says. Why, I oughta what? You want some of this? Chill, both of you. Let's do this cool, ja? Ugh, screw cool. I want this guy's head on a stick. Replica has to be the key to his motive. Gotta be a way to find out what he was up to. Alright, now we're gonna present something. Where he's talking about where we can't sell them. What are we presenting here? We're presenting the newspaper article. The English one, not the Borginian one. Why not choose... I don't know what he said because I didn't press anything and just went over. I would. How clueless are you? Everyone in the market's dangerous. The second they found out I was a cop, I would kiss my keister goodbye. Why sell to a black market buyer? How about someone like this?
That article! That's about the Chief Justice.
A deadly poison can be extracted from the cocoon, but so can a cure. And not a cure for just any disease, a cure for incuritis.
Incuritis? I've heard of that somewhere.
Yes, Judge, you went to visit a victim of the disease this morning.
Uh-huh. Why, that's the disease the Chief Justice's son has. You aren't saying...
Our witness is a detective. He would have contact with the Chief Justice.
You are saying the Chief Justice would never deal in contraband?
Not even to save his own son's life?
But even if the deal went through, why, it'd be an international scandal.
That's Detective Crescent's insurance. If words ever got out, the one with his neck on, that his neck was on the line, would be the Chief's Justice. Oh my god, this fast text needs to stop.
Detective Crescent, is this true?
First, I'm a murderer. Now I'm a smuggler. How many crimes are you trying to pin on me anyway?
Distasteful as it is to think about it, if the Chief Justice were the buyer, why, a seller couldn't hope for a better deal. A very cowardly seller.
Don't let sleeves over there trick you. So I made a deal with the Chief Justice. Where's your proof? Well... Oh yeah, and you're forgetting one other important thing. Do tell. Interpol isn't the only ones out there watching this. Virginian Customs barely sleeps. They're so worried about the cocoons getting out.
So we were informed. Let's continue with the cross-examination.
Virginian Custom is very thorough. Everything and everyone gets checked. That's a statement. Just how strict is this customs check? Way strict. They keep planes on the ground for hours. I do recall it being a bit extreme. They were even confiscating gumdrops and marshmallows.
Yes, it would be hard to distinguish them.
That's right. Gavin was in Virginia, wasn't he? I remember setting off the metal detectors several times. I had to practically strip naked to walk through. Here's a travel tip for you, Gavin. Leave the bling at home, you glamorous fop. Ouch! Oh, Apollo! That's salt. Anyway, we're presenting at this statement now. Let's present the guitar. Actually, there is one way. What? One way to get something out of the country. No checks.
What is it?
You become a prosecutor.
A prosecutor?
I don't believe it. Believe it, Prosecutor Gavin. What was it that you told me yesterday at your office? It was a beautiful instrument. It was played lovingly for many years. A guitar befitting a woman like Lamar. How did it end up here? I mentioned how much I enjoyed playing it that night, and she made a present of it. So this guitar is from Virginia? That it is. We couldn't carry it on the plane. Changes in air pressure and humidity ruined the wood. So we vacuum packed it in Lamar's studio. I use a special shipping service available to me for transporting evidence. They brought it right up to my office for me. Pristine and untouched. Did I get that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Untouched? Right. The guitar was wrapped in several sheets and vacuum packed in Virginia. The pack was untouched until the day of the concert. Are you saying that guitar was... With cocoons this small, it would have been very easy to use your guitar as a mule to smuggle a cocoon out of Virginia.
What?
Which reminds me, Prosecutor Gavin, that guitar had some work done on it recently, right?
Work?
Good memory, Herr Forehead. Well, you know how guitars have a round hole in the front. It's called the sound hole. Well, they found something attached to the wood just inside the hole. A broken device of some sort. A broken device? Yes, this, in fact.
An igniter!
Exactly. Consider this, if you will. What if that igniter wasn't the only thing that was attached inside your guitar? You mean... He means this, of course.
Oh!
There was a way to get a cocoon out of the country. They could use picking Prosecutor Gavin's privileged guitar as a mule. And who better to do that than someone with access? Like a member of the band. Yarr!
Order, order, order! So the igniter
Was placed in there for a clear reason, it seems. It was a safety precaution.
a precaution.
Ah, her forehead. At last, it all comes together. Every strange thing that happened that day. Care to review? Maestro, the gentle sounds of Lamar's ballad, if you please. First, my keys were stolen. A harmless misdemeanor, which forced me to break the lock of my guitar case. The key was stolen to retrieve the cocoon from the guitar.
I see.
But things didn't go so well. The smuggler wasn't counting on the guitar being wrapped. Only a member of the band could get near that case. Unwrapping the guitar would raise too many suspicions. Then the concert began. Right about this time, a very large problem presented itself to the smuggler. I find it funny that Clavier never noticed that stupid device inside his guitar.
What's that?
Mr. Latouche.
Oh,
Mr. Latouche, an undercover agent, was onto something. He would have known about the guitar. He'd only have to check the shipping records. So, Mr. Latouche tried to examine the guitar himself. If the cocoon were confiscated then, the gig would be up. The only thing left for the smuggler to do was to get rid of the whole lot. It's over. Press the switch, now! The guitar burst into flames, and the cocoon was lost. And then, Mr. Latouche died, with Lamar there to witness it. There's your case. Oh, that's brilliant, man.
Detective Crescent?
I gotta know, you make that all up on the fly? For a made-up story, it makes a great deal of sense, Darian. The Republic of Virginia? Sorry, man, but I haven't even been there. True, you haven't. Ha! Let's see you make up a story for that, kid. How'd I hide the cocoon in the first place, huh? Not so hard to imagine. You had help, or Virginian accomplice. That's all. That you had an accomplice was clear from the start. The voice Lamar heard proves it. It's over. Press the switch, now! You made this transmission from backstage, while your co-conspirator was on stage.
But who was it?
This is it. The coup de grace. And for once, I know what I'm doing. There's only one person who could have helped him.
Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say then. But be warned, with a great accusation comes great responsibility.
Okay, Uncle.
Make up your answer on the fly, as it were, and you'll be harshly penalized. Are you ready, Mr. Justice? Who was the smuggler's accomplice?
Only other Virginian, Machi Tobaye. It can't be Lamar, so there is only one person who meets all the requirements of the accomplice. And that person is the defendant, Machi Tobaye.
But Mr. Justice, he's your client.
A defense attorney accusing his client? That's a new one. I assure you, no one is more unhappy about this than I. But I am here to defend him in the murder of Mr. Latouche, and I stand by my statement earlier that he is innocent of that particular crime.
Indeed, the defendant is Virginian. He does meet the basic requirements to be the accomplice. But what if it was in fact Lamar?
It couldn't have been.
Well, you seem sure of yourself.
The reason is electronic signals, Your Honor.
Electronic signals?
Recall that this remote only works to a range of 30 feet. Beyond that, it's useless.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Now think back to the testimony. When the shooter made his transmission, Lamar was in the air vent, right above the dressing room where the shooter stood. Let's look at the stage diagram. This is the area that the remote control could reach from the air vent.
Well, looking at this, it seems that Lamar stood still still could have done the deed.
No. When the shooter made the transmission, the stage was slightly different than shown here. It was in the middle of the Guitar Serenade. Part of the stage was raised. Prosecutor Gavin and Lamar's stand-in were in the air. They were on a tower which happens to be 15 feet tall. In other words, the remote couldn't have worked from Lamar's position in the air vent.
Oh!
Well, Detective Grissen, what do you have to say to that? Your Honor?
Yes, Detective?
We see the video where Gavin's guitar burns. Just one more time.
Oh, well, I don't see why not.
What? Don't tell me he has a way out of this. I see it. Too bad. So sad, punk. Punk? First you were Sleeves, then Kid, now Punk. You're losing rank fast, Apollo.
What exactly were we supposed to see in that video?
The problem isn't what we see. Correct, Darian? Right, it's what you hear. We are musicians, after all. Care to explain for us, non-musicians? Sure thing, punk. Let me get your yarn straight first. You're saying I ordered the Wii pianist to set off that igniter? That right? Yes? Well, in order to do that, he'd have to press a switch. Am I right? Okay. Well, take another listen. Pay attention to the piano. Piano? Piano doesn't stop playing.
How can that be, my friend? What seems to be the problem there? The piano sounded just fine.
And that's the problem, man. You still don't get it? Oh. Yeah, how's he supposed to hit that switch if he's playing? You got Miss Diva, the guitar, the bass, the piano, and the drums. The only one with her hands free was the diva. Lamar. But according to you, she couldn't have been accomplice, could she? Ugh. Your accomplice would have had a hard time helping out. If they couldn't even press a switch.
Rubble, 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 rubble.
So how did he do it? Although I think we all know the answer to that, considering the piano plays non-stop. I think we know the answer to this just because we found a switch inside his piano. He couldn't have pressed that switch.
Well, Mr. Justice, the piano does seem to be playing when the guitar catches fire.
Well, it's okay. We all make mistakes sometimes. Apollo, were you wrong? I can't be wrong. Everything makes perfect sense. How could it all just... Strange. What's strange? No, it's just... Something's odd about the performance there. Odd?
Back to the mixing board! Mr. Justice, if Machi Tabaya didn't press that switch, then he could not be the accomplice you claim he is.
But everything points to it. Every fact says he's the accomplice. You got the facts wrong, man. Here's some facts for you. Gavin's guitar is on fire, but the pianist didn't press that switch. In other words, your story is full of holes.
Mr. Justice, let's hear your final opinion on this matter now. Was the defendant, Machi Tabaya, the accomplice? Your answer will reflect on everything you've said here. Give it some thought.
Apollo, if Machi's not the accomplice, then our whole case is ruined. I know that. It has to be him, though. He was the only one who could have helped the smuggler. Had to have pressed that switch. Oh, you better find a way to prove it. Ugh. What do I do? What do I do? There has to be something that doesn't fit. Something odd. Something odd. Wait a second. What? You thought of something? What was Gavin saying just now? 2 seconds ago? Strange. What's strange? No, it's just... something's odd about the performance there. It's not much to go on, but that's all I got. What exactly did he hear that was odd?
Have you come up with something, Mr. Justice? May I remind you that everything rests on this? Can you prove Machi Tabaye pressed the switch? Let's hear your final answer. Can you prove that Machi Tabaye pressed the switch?
I can't prove it, otherwise we're in deep doo-doo if we can't. I don't know if you could call this proof per se, but I can prove it was possible.
And then, as prosecutor, it falls to me to ask you to show us evidence supporting this. Herr Forehead, you're sure about this?
Ha! Except that there's no evidence, man.
Let's see your evidence, Mr. Justice. On what do you base your claim that the defendant pressed the switch? The mixing board.
The basis for my claim is music, Your Honor.
Music? What about music?
Let's listen to the piano part around the time when the switch was to be pressed. Right before the guitar burst into flame.
I hear a piano being played.
Piano? But doesn't it sound kind of simple?
Simple? Ah, I think I know what he's suggesting. You think Machi could have played that part with one hand? One hand?
You only need one hand to press that switch. You could play the piano with the other. Ha! What? So you're saying some kind of piano? Are you some kind of piano savant? Actually no. Then what do you know? You can't play a part like that with one hand. Ugh. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about here. Wait, I know. Hey, Trucy. Yeah? You got something? Mr. Wright, your father, he's a pianist. Could he... Oh, Daddy? He couldn't play a part like that even if he had 3 hands. So sorry. So sad for you. No, not really. Huh? That was just the easy way to prove it. There's always the hard way. Man, how are you going to prove whether he played it with one hand or 2? You can't! I admit it'll be rather difficult to prove, but it's highly likely he was playing with one hand. How'd you know that? The clue is what Prosecutor Gavin described as sounding odd. What sounded odd? I'll bet we can tell by listening to a certain part of the song. No way.
Well, it seems we've come to the moment of truth at last. Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say for himself. Show us the part that proves the defendant was playing with one hand. Right before the guitar burst into flames.
Machi was definitely playing one-handed just before the guitar caught fire. One section of the song proves it.
Then part 2? That's the section. I'm afraid I don't hear it. What's your opinion as an artist, Prosecutor Gavin? It's a beautiful song, and the lyrics are outstanding. I'll take that to mean there isn't a problem with this section at all.
Wait, so what was the odd thing about that Gavin heard? The switch was pressed in the first half of the second verse, right? I know, I just need to find a place to compare to that. Your Honor, if you'll give me one more chance, I think I can find it.
I suppose we don't have a choice. Very well. You claim the defendant was playing with one hand when the switch was pressed. Show us the part that proves it.
Machi was definitely playing one-handed just before the guitar caught fire. One section of the song proves it. First section. Prosecutor Gavin, I'm sure you realize by now just what it was that sounded odd to you.
As I'm sure you've realized it yourself, Herr Forehead. Realize what?
I'll demonstrate. Let's listen to the part in question again, shall we? Pay particular attention to the but a fleeting melody phrase. Man, how many times do we have to listen to the same thing? You're right, enough of that. Let's listen to another section, shall we?
Another section?
The guitar burst into flame at the end of the second verse. Let's listen to the same spot in the first verse. Pay attention to "Oh That Night in Your Embrace."
Oh! Play verse 2 again! Oh my god, Judge!
There! Did you hear that?
Or not hear? They feel the same, true. But they're clearly very different.
What? Well put, Your Honor. The phrase in verse 2 is quite simple, but the same phrase in verse 1 has high and low notes. You'd have to use two hands to play that for sure.
Oh!
What's that prove? I would think you know that by now. This is why I hate dealing with amateurs, man. So the two verses had different arrangements. Happens all the time.
Not this time, Darian. There's no point in changing an arrangement if you can't hear it clearly. And that wasn't the point. I had them play specifically so that the piano would stay in the background.
Oh God. I'm so constipated.
That was what I noticed. Why would the same phrase sound slightly different, I asked myself.
Now ask yourself why Machi changed how he played, and there's only one answer. He needed a free hand in order to press the switch.
So close. Order! I believe this ties all the facts together. Well, Prosecutor Gavin. Yes, quite. Though personally, this comes as a terrible disappointment.
What? No comeback? I can't believe it. I finally did it. I shut him up.
Very well, barring an objection from the prosecution, I will now state the court's opinion on this matter.
Good show, Sleeves. No, great show.
It's not over? I don't like it when he looks so happy.
You tell him, Gavin. Tell him what's so disappointing.
Personally, I'm terribly disappointed. In you, Herr Forehead.
Huh? Me?
Yes, don't get me wrong, your case is solid. The facts all check out, but even now, you have yet to show us a single piece of decisive evidence.
Yeah, but the facts, anyone can see it was him.
Unfortunately, anyone does not include the law. I'm afraid your case doesn't cut it.
But...
1,000 facts might point toward the same conclusion, but without decisive evidence, it's not proof. That's the rule under our current legal system.
Don't believe it.
It does not seem as though the defense has any more evidence to present.
Oh, I think if he did, he already would have seen it long ways back.
It's unfortunate, but at present this court is unable to acknowledge your accusation.
What? Oh shit. What do we do now? The truth is staring us all right in the face. Why can't they see it? What's the point of a legal system that protects criminals? Apollo, remember what Danny said.
It won't be easy proving he did it, especially not under the current court system.
So what do I do?
Like I said, good luck. And be aware that it will be impossible to prove his guilt by conventional methods. Ugh. Every man has an igniter inside him. Find Darian Krishen's igniter and set it off.
I wonder what he meant by every man's igniter. he just meant a weak spot, no? The kind of thing that a single spark could turn into a wildfire of emotion. Won't be able to press him further by conventional means. I've got to find a weak spot in this guy. Something fatal. So, can I get back to work now or what? It look like I got a lot of time on my hands, but I got no more time to play pretend with this deadweight attorney.
Well, Mr. Justice, we've come this far without decisive evidence. This witness won't be coming back to the stand once we let him go.
Every man has an igniter. Huh? Didn't you say the better guitar, the brighter it burns, Prosecutor Gavin?
Ah, yes, good guitars are kept dry, is why. That provides the best sound.
Even a small spark could cause irreparable damage. Your plan was an igniter in it. Your plan has an igniter in it too, Detective. It was there. From the very beginning. What? Fighting time, Justice. If you blow this one, he'll be out of your hands for good. Go for it, Apollo! What, and this igniter's supposed to come burn me up? That's almost poetic there, Mr. Attorney.
All the better. I'm rather fond of poetry, and I intend to hear this one through the very end. Forehead. You are accusing this man, Darren Crescent, of 2 crimes. The murder of Mr. Latouche and the smuggling of a Virginian cocoon. This is your last chance to prove your case. This trial has already run on for far too long.
I agree, Judge. Holy crap!
Mr. Justice, this will be my last warning. The moment this igniter of yours turns out to be a dud is the moment this cross-examination ends. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then let's have it. Show us the basis for these accusations against Darian Crescent.
Okay, this is really my last chance. The key that will take apart Darian Crescent's plan is... calling a witness. We have no more evidence to present. Your igniter isn't a piece of evidence.
Huh? So what is?
It is true that I couldn't show decisive evidence, but perhaps what I needed to prove my case was something else.
You mean a witness?
Proving his guilt is a tall order, but I've got just the person to do it.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Who is this person who can prove Darian Crescent's guilt?
The guy who ignited the igniter. The one person who can prove Darian Crescent's guilt is the defendant, Machi Tabaye.
Your client? Again?
Yes, again. Machi Tabaye was an accomplice to the cocoon smuggling plot. Without him, Darian Crescent could not have gotten the cocoon. Furthermore, he can easily prove that the one who plotted to smuggle that cocoon is the real criminal in this case.
How so?
It would require just one of the very cocoons Mr. Latouche was looking for. With the cooperation of the Republic of Virginia, we could burn a cocoon. Burnt cocoon would leave a particular residue. A residue we would, no doubt, also find inside the burnt-out guitar.
Aha! Very scientific of you. You know, instead of importing out the cocoon, they could have just imported out the finished product of the cocoon and it would just save the trouble, right?
Thus, if Machi Tabaye acknowledged his agreement with Darian Crescent concerning the attempted smuggling of the Virginian cocoon, the case is solved. Darian's laughing again. Your unrelenting passion is remarkable. You really want to get me, don't you? Bet you'll never be able to. Why not? The little key tickler won't acknowledge anything, especially not anything to do with cocoon smuggling.
What's this all about? Taking a cocoon out of the country means death. By Virginian law.
Yeah, see? If our pianist really was a smuggler, then testifying about it would be suicide. Believe me, he's not talking. But you're wrong, Detective Crescent. What? It's the other way around. If Machi doesn't admit to smuggling here, he's in deep trouble. Huh? How? Look, if Machi admits to smuggling here, then he'll be tried in our courts by our laws. You don't get the death penalty for smuggling in our country. Oh. The victim in this case was an undercover Interpol agent. I'm sure that news has already reached Virginia.
And they'll likely broadcast our dealings in court today, including the part about the Virginian cocoon.
Yeah, but... But if Machi doesn't admit to smuggling now, he'll eventually be picked up by the Borginian police, and it's not like he's in any danger in our court. We're not going to find him guilty of murder here. Not now. Yeah, but you can't do this! You can't accuse me! Maybe the law doesn't allow it, but who's going to think you're really innocent after hearing this trial? The same goes for Machi Tabaye. The cocoon smuggling, your entire plan. Machi Tabaye knows everything. There's only one way out of it for him, and that's to acknowledge his own crime. The crime of cocoon smuggling. You gonna break down now? Don't worry there. I'll get you out of the country. I'll set you up someplace, a hidden mansion, real nice. You want a house made out of cookies? Oh no, a house made out of pianos. Come on. Please! Don't talk? Is that what he's saying? Yes. Dude, his hair's going wickedly wild now. Oh, you're in trouble now, Darian. Rip. Darian, I consider that my last session with you. We rocked. I'm guessing we can treat that outburst as a confession. Uh-oh, he's laughing again. There's a kind of sick desperation in it now, though. House made out of cookies, what the frick? Well, have you been listening to today's trial? Yes. And you'll talk. You'll tell this court everything. I didn't want it to turn out this way, but I'm not the kind of lawyer that can overlook their crime. Today's trial was all for your benefit, you know. I see no reason why you should hesitate now. Knew from beginning. I knew. Machi. Situation. I cannot explain, but money I needed. Very much money. Today's trial raises a delicate issue with our legal system. The only thing definite in court of law is evidence. This is the golden rule. However, it has become apparent that not all things can be tried by this standard. Should another case of this sort surface, we may have to consider an alternate system by which to administer justice. Anyway, Mr. Machi Tabaye. Yes. I promise you will receive a fair trial by the laws of our country, and with regards to the current charges for the murder of Mr. Latouche, this court is prepared to announce a verdict. Oh, what pretty eyes. I thank you. I only lie, but you see truth. Fine truth. That's our job. Very well. This court finds the defendant, Machi Tabaye, not guilty! Confetti! Machi has really pretty eyes. Holy crap. Court is adjourned. Oh, finally! This was a long-winded case. I mean, I like it, but Jesus. I wonder what'll happen to Machi. Well, he did smuggle a cocoon out of Virginia. I guess there'll be another trial here. All's well that ends well. I'm Mr. Right. Daddy!
I owe you both my thanks.
Lamar?
My, is something wrong?
I'm sorry, Machi was your partner on stage. Your friend.
Yes, I thought of him as my own son. Even now I do. Yet something got a hold of him. Something evil. I see that. And he must pay for what he has done. Is that not how it should be?
I'm still sorry.
Do not be sorry. You have given me courage.
Courage?
I am considering an eye operation.
It was my suggestion, actually. You mean you'll be able to see again?
It's funny. I have always been afraid of the light. Light seems so harsh, so unforgiving.
According to the doctor, Lamar lost her sight due to some kind of accident. Accident?
As you know, I suffer from amnesia. I feared that if I could see, perhaps it would open my eyes to the truth I have been running from. I was scared.
You know what changed her mind? Hearing your defense in there today. You could feel your gaze, unwavering, always looking straight at the truth.
If the light returns to my eyes, I think I will take up painting.
Painting? That's right! She's the landscape painter in sound, after all.
I will paint the two of you. I promise.
Aww! Woohoo! I can't wait, Lamar! I owe you my thanks too, Apollo. Thanks, Mr. Wright, but for what? You reminded me I need to hurry things along. On my secret mission, that is. Right, your secret mission.
Apollo, Trucy, I hope that we will meet again someday soon.
You bet, me too. Whenever we get Apologists too, maybe. And so, like a ballad, the trial flowed on and on, until it came to an end. Thanks to the trial, the guitar serenade was a huge hit. Prosecutor Gavin's even more dazzling to look at now. But there's something I want to say to that guy. Next time you write a ballad, have them catch the killer at the end. Thanks, Trucy, for reading my mind. The end! Oh, thank God, we're done! Awesome! Whew. Holy crap, the last part of the case just started to drag. Ugh. But we're done, and we can go right into case 4 whenever I have the time to get into case 4, because now we're gonna head, well, at the time of this recording, this was just a hiatus break to go back into DGS. So, whenever we get to case 4, we'll get to case 4. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.
I will paint the two of you, I promise. But I will not be speaking directly to you for any time soon. Perhaps in Ace Attorney 7, but I can make no promises on that one.